All right, awesome. Guess who I have? I have a special guest today that we're going to sit down and dive a little bit deep into her background. I'm with Viviane Pham right now, and Viviane's in the mortgage industry right now as a loan officer, and she just closed a really big deal. Can you tell us more about this deal that you just closed right now?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. I just kind of want to give you a little bit background on myself. I actually started out, in the real estate business. I work with Dave, and I decided that I wanted to do loans, but having that real estate background really helped me, to get to the point where I'm at today. And with Dave's amazing coaching and all the support and training that he's given me in the past 2 years has really allowed me to do what I'm doing right now, including closing that deal not too long ago. So I must say that, a lot of training, just the systems that are put into place to really lay down that foundation for me to be strategic in the business, in terms of like how can I better help my realtor partners, how can I help the clients to make better financial decisions. That all of that combined really helped me to close multiple deals, and especially a deal like in 1.8 million. So it's a blessing, but I want to give David and the mortgage company some of the credit for kind of building me up to where I'm at.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the build-up process, because I think a lot of people that are looking at getting started as a career in the mortgage industry, or maybe they're in it right now, just give us a background. How long have you been actually offering these types of loans?
For over 18 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
So about 18 months. Yeah. And when you first started in this process, right? So you got your license, and you went out there, took all the courses, you did the hours, you took the test, you passed the test, and now you're ready to start the business, right? So in that process, so when you started, going after and decided to go and start doing the loan business, can you give us an example of some of the transactions that you started to work with? Were they refinances? Were they purchases? And how you're coming about and getting into some of that business?
Yeah, sure. So I want to say that I've been doing more purchases than refinance. And so with purchases, I want to say more training is required, because it's about developing that client trust, right? Whereas refi, it's I want to say, client trust building is important for any transaction, but more so on purchases than refinances. So coming out with your question, so how did I do more purchases or refinance? So so to answer his question, more purchases than refinance. And I want to kind of talk about the first purchase that I did was with a client named Bonnie. And I remember that deal. The realtor was showing them homes, Bonnie and Philip, and they were previously pre-approved with Chase. However, they experienced some difficulty in getting the offer accepted, because the agent on the seller side was not able to get a hold of the Chase loan officer. And so then Karina, the realtor partner on the buyer agent, she reached out to me, and she let me know the situation, and saying that her clients love this property, and they want to do everything it takes for that, to get the property. So I jumped on it right away, and I called up the sellers, including the listing agent, and let them know that, all the things that we can offer on this transaction to make them feel comfortable with accepting the client's offer. So before I was able to do that, though, I had to, get the client on the phone and really kind of like, just let them know, hey, just because Chase is not here for you right now, we are here, and we can make this dream come true for you. And I want to say that I was able to do that because I had that, like the training that I mentioned, or like I was already prepared right, for a situation like this, so that I knew exactly what to say to the client to make them comfortable with like sending me the documents and essentially having me taking over the loan, and making sure that I can do this as quickly as possible so they don't lose out on that home.
That's amazing. What I realized over the last 2 decades of my career is it's really just the words that we really work on, and that's really where the skill level's at, right? Mm-hmm. So, and if you really think about that, then all I needed to do is just figure out what other top people are doing and just copy what the words that they're saying. And what it sounds like is right away you learned how to make yourself different, saying that, hey, I'm different because I'm available now and your current loan officer is not available right now. And just that alone, we start to underestimate how powerful that is. Yeah, and we take that sometimes for granted, like, hey, these are a lot of things that we start to learn in a very short period of time frame, but it's really skill that got developed through that process, that now that once you got them on the phone and you're talking to them and now you're saying other words to them, that it's like, oh my goodness, I thought I wanted to use Chase, but now Viviane's saying all the right words to me, and it's exactly what I really need right now, which is this house. Because at the end of the day, what we find out, it's the loan could be just a loan, but it's more than that, right? Yes. And that's what they realize. It's like, oh my goodness, I came across somebody that's more than just a loan that I thought I was getting from Chase. I'm actually somebody's actually helping me that I really need at this point in time. And because of that, the words that we say become so compelling that we would like to say it's just irresistible from doing business with you, right? Because now there's like, I always look at it this way, it's like they're willing to drop anyone, to work with you. So Bonnie, it's pretty much what happened to Bonnie, right? Yes. Yes. So and then that was a nice transaction, one of your very first transactions. Yes. And you can tell that the more you learn as far as even when to do, like when to say certain things and when not to say, you're literally setting people up to like want to do business with you, right? And at the end of the day, it's all about making them feel comfortable. And you talked about that, they felt comfortable working with you. And that's amazing, because what I find a lot of times is why people feel comfortable going to Chase is because, number one, the name, right? So how can you compete with Chase? Like, my name's not Chase, right? Your name's not Chase, so how do we compete with that, right? Because that's why people think that's the perception is that that's what they want, but they realize that's not important to them. Does that make sense? And what happens is once they get you on the phone now, they realize that's not the important thing anymore. Matter of fact, that can cause issues even getting that house, getting their dream house is making that decision, which is not the right decision. And so the way I look at it is by over the last a year or so of just working with you, is we're in the business of like raising people up, elevating people's lives, but more importantly, help people make better decisions. And as a result of that, those better decisions elevates their lives, right? Meaning, because of you, they're able to buy that house. Isn't that amazing? Whereas, there could have been a 50-50 shot if they would have stuck with Chase, right? But what did you do to bring to the table is that it's no longer a 50-50 shot. Can you kind of go over what you did to kind of help them through that process during that time frame?
Yes, certainly. So, I scheduled a Zoom meeting with them right away because, in this business, I realized that there's no shortcuts, because the more shortcuts that we try to take, it's just actually, it has the reverse effect, right? Or it may slow us down. And so I'm really fortunate that I realized that earlier on than later. So that allowed me to keep a lot of deals together. Also, like being able to coach, the realtor partners that I'm working with, on the real estate side, because we realized that real estate and loan, they're inseparable, right? So in order for the loan officer to close the loan, the realtor have to have the strategies to keep the deal together. And sometimes we as loan officers have to offer that support as well, to give real estate advice, to really get into the psychological of the client, and really just keeping the deal together. And I find that that's really important. So going back to Bonnie's transaction, I scheduled a Zoom meeting with them. I presented them with all the different loan options that we have, and that's really powerful, because I realized, like, the more options that we give to clients, it just makes us very valuable. Because the last thing I want to do when I get in front of the client is tell them, hey, this is all we have to offer you. It's like, it's either this or nothing. I mean, eventually it may get down to that point, like after we review all of their documents and all of their like paperwork, it may come down to that, but we don't want to do that so soon up front. We want to let them know that by working with us, by allowing us to handle their transaction, they have more options than going elsewhere, right? So I think that really set the right tone between Bonnie and I and her family over Zoom. And I was like, hey, we can look at this loan option right here or this one. But in order for me to better determine which loan product suits you, I would have to, review your documents. We would need the in-house underwriter to analyze your credit report, your the asset statements, your W-2s, 1040s, what have you. So after I explained all of that to her, it made her feel more comfortable with sending me the documents, to know that she's not going to have to redo this whole process again and not even knowing if I could do the loan or not, to help her. So I think it's just like getting in front of the client, presenting them with the options, explaining to them the pros and cons of each loan program, and and not just like giving them advices, but essentially letting them feel like they have the ability to make the final decision, and we're just there to help them make that decision, but not telling them that's what they need to do. It's essentially their decision to make.
Amazing. Said a few things about the shortcut, and we were talking about the shortcut, right?
Yeah.
So the shortcut is literally just finding a system and copying it, right?
That's right.
That's the shortcut, right? And I remember years ago, I was looking for people that can actually mentor me, because I wanted the shortcut in life. And I realized, without finding somebody that I could really copy, figure out, all the way down to like what time they get in the office, what do they do, right? What do they read? What do they watch? What do they do in their spare time? I might not have the same interest as that, but I'm just curious of what they do, what makes their body tick. And what I realize is that when you can find somebody that actually has the success that you would like, then you just have to just copy them, right? I'm a huge Tony Robbins fan. Back in 2006 or so is really when I started buying everything that I saw on infomercial, all the way down to, like, I didn't have the money, so I, at one point in time, it was a very tough time. So I would literally just charge the stuff to my credit card, right? Just like, I'll just buy it, because I knew that the more I could hear from a guy like that, and I learned success leaves clues. Mm-hmm. So where are the clues at in this whole business? Well, the clues is that the shortcut is that just copying, like, and I want to go even further than just copying, because it really gets into the fine details of the copy. Right? And the copy is when you say things, how you say it, the tone, mm-hmm. The strategy behind it. And I really think that's kind of what led you to your biggest deal, is because you've just keep getting better and better copying the strategy, right? When we talked about Zoom, is like, well, how do you separate yourself, because you're not Chase? How do you compete with Chase? I mean, because we can't. Mm-hmm. Like, they feel totally secure. There's security walking into Chase, and they're like, we don't know you. There's no security in there. There's no, they're not gonna feel certain about the whole thing, right? So we have to figure out ways, and I think the strategies that we have are really, really good.
I agree.
And because of that strategy, allowed people to say, hey, you know what? I thought I was gonna use Chase, but now I want to use Viviane. Mm-hmm. And then you further on went out and helped them, and I saw the review from them. That's just an amazing what took place there. I would say that the next thing is that once you start learning some of this basic stuff, the copying part, is now we got to get into like more like kind of deeper into the copy, you know?
Right.
And it really like you could only copy the script so much until you actually just get out there and play the game. So I look at it this way. When you copy the stuff, that's going to get you in the ball game, right? It's going to get you in the World Series. But what's going to win, like meaning get paid, close a deal, it's how it's all done. And that's where, you know, really just kind of some of the experience or someone that you know is going to walk you through the process. Having that coach or mentor plays a huge process in that, right?
Definitely. So
because if this was not true, then baseball, when they're playing the World Series, they would not have a, you know, the coach on first base and second base, and,
right.
and they wouldn't need all those coaches, right? Mm-hmm. But why are those coaches there is because they're literally coaching their players play by play to win the championship, right? Maybe it may not be the World Series, but they want to get to the World Series.
That's right.
And they need all those coaches there. So the coaching part is, it wouldn't work. Like they're not going to win any World Series without the coach. At the end of the day, you know, they're just not going to win those big championships. And what you just did just recently is, to me, it was like the big championship, right? I mean, you know, how many people are out there with your experience closing $1.8 million deals? I tell you right now, it's not very common. But what is common is when you start to take on that aspect of coaching and take on like how does this process work?
Right.
And one thing about you, like, you know, you ask questions, and plus you're always around this type of information. So I look at this type of business as if you can really buy time back. I love using time for example because just us talking here right now, we've already essentially lost time. Like you can't go buy that time back, right? So, you know, but wouldn't it be nice that, you know, we were able to buy time?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yes.
I mean,
For sure.
Meaning, how about like go back to time? Have you ever watched Back to the Future? Probably not.
Mm-hmm.
It was a movie that I used to watch, and matter of fact, I watched it not too long ago, flying somewhere on, you know, flying to Florida or something like that, and I was watching Back to the Future. It was a great show, but they actually flew back to future. Okay, so one of these days you're gonna watch that movie. It's like that's like buying time right there. How can you go back? And you can't. So, but what we can do is, I look at it this way: we can compress time.
Yeah.
Right? Compressing time. Would you rather take 10 years to close that $1.8 million deal, or would you rather do it in a year time? Of course, it's like the biggest no-brainer, right? You want to be able to do it as soon as possible. And the way that happens is that through coaching and modeling,
Yes.
right? And when you can model that success, then it starts to come out just like it's supposed to do, right? So congratulations on that.
Thank
with
you.
Bonnie. But what about this last one here at $1.8 million? Like, how did that one come about? And I know you've got a full pipeline of loans, right?
Yeah.
How many loans, by the way, how many loans do you have in your pipeline right now?
5.
5 loans in...
About to get into the 6th month.
Okay, when did you get licensed?
So about 18 months ago.
18 months ago. 18
Yeah.
months ago. And now you're at 5, gonna put in another deal in escrow.
Yes.
With, is this a refi or
It's a purchase.
purchase with another realtor?
Yeah.
So it's obvious that these realtors are trusting you with that type of business,
Yes.
right? Kind of like the chase, right? You know, a lot of times realtors, when they start talking to the realtors out there, you know, a lot of times they start working with a bank,
Right.
huh? And because why? It goes back, they feel safe, and then until they realize it's probably not in their best interest. And I'll never forget, like, you know, I had to tell somebody, like, hey, how great is that service that you're getting from Chase? And I see, what they don't know is just that they don't know. They just
Right.
thought it was normal. And then I started telling them about the extra services that, you know, our team provides them. You know, in addition, just how we do the business is way different. But it sounds like you've gotten to that point where you have realtors out there trusting you with their business.
Yes.
And in reality, it's like them trusting you with their life.
I would say so.
Because if you don't close it, like that's how they earn their living, right? I don't know any realtors that do it any other way. Like the deal does not, like they don't get paid until the deal closes. Exactly. And so therefore they gotta trust you with their life, you know. And so when I hear about you getting more realtors to work with, and realtors are literally chasing you down with these referrals, that says a lot. This says a lot about somebody that's been in the business for only 18 months. So what happened with this other closing here? So
before I go into the details about this transaction, 1.85 mil, is just preparation. So I felt like I was very well prepared to handle something that I'm about to explain to you guys. Is that this was a non-QM loan, and so that means it's not conventional. It was a no debt, no income ratio loan. So I just feel beyond blessed because of the multiple products that we offer here, allow us to accommodate the clients and difficult scenarios like this. So we have so many connection with wholesale lenders out there that allow us to offer just a variety of products out there. I want to say that we have a loan product for every single buyer out there. Okay, and it's just amazing. So because of that access, I was able to close this deal. So imagine if I didn't work with a wholesale lender that offered this product, it would have been hard for me to be in position to capture that opportunity.
Right.
So on top of that, it's also just I want to say I provided second mile service to my client in all of my deals, but especially this one, and I want to share the details, is the client, she lives up north, Northern California, and she was looking to relocate to Southern California. Tony is the realtor, the buyer's agent that's helping her out with the virtual showings, right? Because keep in mind, she bought this home, actually she opened up escrow, I should say, without even seeing the properties in person. So the realtor reached out to me and explained to me the situation that the client is actually interested in 2 properties, but she doesn't know which one she would like to purchase yet. However, she would like to secure both, right, and not miss out on the opportunity because there were multiple offers on the table. So I think the fact that I was super flexible in this transaction, and I said, you know what, let's go ahead and submit 2 loans for her.
Wait, so you're the one that gave the realtor the idea?
I want to say we strategized together.
Yeah.
Tony he's phenomenal as well, and he was willing to do just the abnormal, just the extraordinary for the client. And I think because we were in sync at at that level, that's why we were able to make this deal happen. So he communicated to me that, Viviane, we're gonna have to open 2 escrows. My clients are gonna submit 2 earnest money deposits. Are you okay with this? And to be honest with you, I've never done this in the past, but because I do have a winning mindset, and being around someone like David, like he teaches me that we just have to have that winning mentality, and and miracles happen when you have that winning mentality, right? So I said yes, we're gonna do it, and of course I knew that was gonna require a lot of work on my end to be able to, just to kind of keep 2 escrows going at the same time until the buyer can arrange to come down and see and physically inspect the properties and make her final decision. So I was able to kind of I want to say stabilize the situation for those 10 days, right, before she came down to see the properties. And I want to say that it felt really good. It felt really good to be able to do something like that for the client and let her know. I let her know too that, typically we don't do something like this, but because I understand that, I understand how much you really want to move to LA, to Studio City. So we're willing to go the extra mile. We're willing to put in the extra work to make sure that you don't miss out on the home that you actually, you absolutely love. So I think it's just being the flexibility, the preparation, the ability to offer multiple, products, loan products, was the winning factors to this transaction.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So not only that, like you have the winning product, you've been working on this for about 18 months. Like you said, all the preparation that goes into this.
Yes.
And that means your deals are only getting bigger. And think about that though, like typically what happens is like when you start dealing with people with that type of net worth,
Yes.
is that like we can't underestimate that the fact is that, you know, even though you haven't been doing the business that long in terms of what a lot of people have been out there, right, in the industry, but yet you're making these people feel extremely comfortable working with you, which again, it goes back to like what you're bringing to the table, right? To the point of like, they're saying, submit 2 offers and I'm gonna handle this for you, and getting 2 offers accepted and then walking them through the process. And did you close on time on top of all that?
Yes, actually, we were supposed to close under 21 days, but you know that was something. You know, we had some issues in terms of, you know, escrow. That's why it got delayed 3 days. But if everything had gone smoothly on the escrow side, we would have closed, I want to say, on the 16th or 17th day. But we ended up closing 21 days.
So you closed on time, managing 2 deals. Man, you're just sounding like a pro. Like you've been doing this for a decade or 2. That's amazing. That's awesome. You know, hearing these types of stories, I'm sure you're going to inspire other people that are, you know, looking, that would want to get into your shoes and want to have this type of business that you're developing right now. So this is fantastic. Tony's actually, you know, fairly new in the business as well, my understanding, right?
Yes.
2-3 months in the business.
Yes.
And he's closing $1.8 million deal, and the training that they do at Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty is very similar to the training that we do here. You know, the training and coaching and mentorship is that, you know, they actually provide all these leads, right? And these are like really, to me, like the hottest leads out there.
Yes, I would say so.
And he's closed a very big deal. So, you know, that's phenomenal. And that's what's happening over there at Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty is that, you know, they're providing all these leads and all these referrals to their realtor partners. And how many realtor partners are you working with right now?
Currently, I'm working with 15 to 20 realtor partners from Your Home Sold Guarantee that are sending me consistent business. And this is just, you know, relationships that are just so valuable. And, you know, I want to share that I never had to go out there and I want to say, look for relationships, right? But of course, like when these relationships come to me, I do have to develop them even more and maintain them. So I don't take them for granted, but I wouldn't think I can, you know, kind of handle these relationships the right way if I had not had the training and the knowledge, because like you just mentioned, Dave, that they're very highly trained realtors and they have a system in place to train all of their agents over there. So we have to be you know, in position and to kind of like, you know, come up to that level and, you know, to do business at that level, because when they're referring clients over to us, they want to make sure that we understand their system and we have the system in place to be in alignment with them and to offer that second mile service to the client.
That's amazing. And that's where that whole trust comes into place, right? Because, you know, they could have went to somebody else, but they chose you because they ultimately trusted you, and now you're delivering based on their expectations, right?
Yes.
And usually that results in, that's how you grew from like 1 realtor to like you're now like at 10, 15 realtors, right? And that's the amazing part in 18 months. And I would say probably I saw this growth happen a lot in the last 6 months, right?
Yes.
So essentially in the last 6 months, you've grown from 0 realtors to 10, 15 realtors in a 6 months period. So what's going to be another 6 months? I think it's only going to continue to build like a big snowball, right? And that's how you start winning some more championships and start helping more families out there and you know, ultimately just serving more people. So that's amazing. Congratulations on your success. So that's about it for today.